Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video review for the premiere of Guillermo del Toro's The Strain TV series. Alright, and as always, my video reviews do contain spoilers, so for anyone who doesn't want to know anything about the premiere, go ahead and watch the premiere first, watch the episode first before you watch my review. That said, it's the premiere episode, it's the pilot, Season 1, Episode 1 for The Strain. It's already been ordered for 13 episodes for the first season, and because it's on FX, the episodes are pretty long. This one was an hour and 9 minutes, so it's dense too, and there's hardly any slowdowns throughout the episode. So it is a pretty incredible premiere for people that like horror, vampire, zombie genre type shows. Now the reason why I say that is because The Strain is basically, now I have not read the novels, but based on what I've seen from the premiere so far, we're basically seeing the beginning of what would be, I guess, a fictional vampire apocalypse, which is not something I've seen done before, really. When I think about vampires and the kind of stories they've been in, movies and comic books and stuff, usually it's relatively small time. But what would a story be like if, like, vampires or something similar to vampires? Now, they're not exactly just simple vampires. They don't just bite somebody and then the person turns. They're a little bit more, they're quite different than that. They're very scary looking. They have these really long tongues, and there's these little worm things. It's kind of hard to describe, but if you've seen it, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. These little strand worm type creatures that will burrow into other people's flesh and basically cause them to turn. Likewise, some of them behave sort of similar to a zombie, I guess I would say, somewhat. And then you have others that are kind of like, or at least in terms of what we saw so far, the leader type vampire guy that kind of spreads it. So it's pretty complicated in terms of how it spreads. It's not like a simple vampire, you bite, that person becomes a vampire, then they bite. It's not that simple. There's more to it than that. It's more complicated, and it's more gross. It's more grotesque, with the little strain things that go into people, and the kind of the vampire, I guess you could call him like leader, so to speak, who's more like a monster than he is something like Underworld. If you guys have seen Underworld, some of the kind of head honcho vampires like that, where they're just grotesque and they're not even that humanoid in terms of their form, and incredibly powerful, incredibly fast, and very fearsome to deal with, especially for a regular human being. You also have sort of their side. There are some characters in the story that are already part of the vampire, I guess, I don't know what a side, I guess, versus a human side, I guess you could kind of say. And they just add more complexity to the story. They just add more to it, because rather than it being like a zombie apocalypse where that's relatively simple with regards to how it spreads, with The Strain, you're not dealing with something that's simple. You're dealing with something like with vampires. They're able to think, they're able to make decisions, strategize, do things like that in order to implement plans and strategies, all these different advanced kind of functions that zombies don't have. They're very simplistic in terms of their spread and how the disease spreads. So it's really kind of a cool new type of horror drama series. It's on FX and aired Sunday night, tonight, or last night, depending on when you're watching this. And I was really impressed with the premiere. Really, really, really impressed with this premiere. I thought it was just absolutely enthralling. Now, it's not for the faint of heart. If you are the type of person that you get scared from, horror type stuff, you don't like to see kind of, there's some really grotesque stuff in there, along with the vampire side, their tongues and that kind of stuff, and the way they look and the way they it kind of spreads and everything is very scary. I mean, like, one of the most scary things I've seen in a television series probably ever. This is the type of thing you're used to seeing in a straight up horror movie, I would say, which is being done in a long running television series. So it's man, it's it's pretty horrifying. It's pretty terrifying, I will say. Now, there are some things about it that are a little bit comic booky that, are kind of something you would see, you expect to read in a comic book, that kind of thing, like the main vampire villain. And there was a little bit of CG on him that I didn't care for that much. It looked a little bit fabricated, but it kind of took me out of the experience a little bit. But for the most part, in terms of the premiere, it's amazing. And when you think about the amount of time, when you think about how much effort would go into creating something like this, it's a pretty crazy show. I really hope that it gets the viewership that it deserves, because for people that like the horror genre with vampires, zombies, any of these types of things, it's definitely one that I would have to recommend after seeing it. I was really blown away with this one. Aside from the vampires and kind of that side of things, I also really liked our human characters in this premiere. I really like Corey Stoll as Dr. Ephraim Goodweather. He's kind of like our main protagonist. There seem to be two. There's kind of two in this one. You have him, who we get to see his side of things. I think he's a really interesting character. He's a doctor at the CDC. He's kind of like the leader for the investigating what's happening on this plane, essentially, which has gone dark and landed. It hasn't crashed, but no one has gotten off of the plane, and it's completely dark. They don't see anything from it, so the CDC gets called in, the FBI, everybody, all that, and the CDC is the first in New York, the first ones to go in and investigate to see what's happening with this infestation or this virus outbreak, so to speak, which is at first what they think it is, and then as they start to go, they start to see the complexity of it and what they're dealing with to a degree is maybe a lot more than what they can handle. So he's a really, really cool character, and I liked his motivations, and I like to get to see his lifestyle, where basically he's going through a divorce with his wife. His wife is living with this guy who's like a manager at Sears or something, and so and he's got a son with the wife, and so they're getting a divorce, and the wife's new boyfriend is living with them in his house. So pretty brutal. So you can definitely relate to that. You can see the relationship that he has with his son, and it's really well acted, and it's really, I would say, you kind of have to feel for that type of a character. So I really like him as a character a lot. He's also, even though he's a doctor, he's also a strong leader, I want to say, of his team. He's not timid like a lot of doctors, very intelligent people tend to not be the greatest in terms of that. They are a lot of times pretty timid, and they're not really usually calling the shots, doing things. I mean, not always, but when you think about somebody that's super intelligent, like really, really intelligent like that, a lot of times they're portrayed in that manner in movies. In real life, I'm not saying that. I'm saying in movies, they're often portrayed like that. But in this one, he's not. He's a really strong leader who's also incredibly intelligent, and he has the great backstory in terms of his family. I really dug his story. I thought it was great, and I think he's a great character. So he was really intriguing, and to me is a strong lead. I really like him as a lead in this one. In addition to that, we also have David Bradley as Abraham Satrakian, and he is Walder Frey he's in a lot of movies, but he was in The World's End. Also, he played this crazy guy who, well, he wasn't really crazy because he was correct. In this one, it's kind of a similar role to that, except he's kind of, it seems to me like he's a vampire slayer type thing. And this old guy, vampire slayer, really badass, really intimidating, really scary. He's got some really cool weapons and stuff like that. Well, at least a really cool sword from what we've seen so far. And he's a really, really interesting character. And it's funny to see the actor who plays Walder Frey play a good role versus his, how he probably be remembered by most people who've seen Game of Thrones all the way through, from the Red Wedding and everything. Your Grace, don't get up. So he's great to see in this role. He's a great actor, man. He can really play that, dark, evil. And I really like him in this one, too. I think he's a great choice to play this character. Now, aside from that, we do have a lot of other characters as well, too. You have, the wife of Dr. Ephraim. You have sort of his co-doctor, female, played by Mia Maestro as Dr. Nora Martinez. So she's in there as well, too. And there's lots of other characters as well, too, that you can go through. overall, I'd say that the characters are great. The story it's incredible for people that like this genre. But you have to like the genre. But if you do, this is one of the best things I've seen in a TV series horror genre for a very, very long time. This is one of the best premieres I've ever seen for a series. And I hope it's able to maintain this level of quality, not just in the premiere, but in an episode-to-episode basis. And hopefully we're seeing like the beginning right now. And then as we go through maybe the whole first season, we will see sort of this outbreak of this strain, this vampire apocalypse, I guess is the best way I can kind of express it, because it's in New York, so it's heavily dense, and I'm sure it's going to spread quickly, that type of thing. And very interesting show. So if you guys missed it, if you didn't get a chance to check it out, please, if you like horror shows, you like The Walking Dead, you like this kind of stuff, Game of Thrones, definitely check this one out. Do not skip it. I would say make a point, even if you have to find it online, whatever you got to do, check this one out. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. It is super solid, and I can't wait to see the second episode of it. I'll already say, even after one episode, it's probably the best new show I've seen this year. Maybe right up there with True Detective, which is a great show too. And the best I've seen so far this summer. And I've checked out a few, of course, Under the Dome Season 2. You guys see my reviews for that. But this one is just, it's really incredible. Check it out. Definitely check it out. And if you guys like the video, if you like the review, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share the video, please favorite it, and I'll call it here. Oh, by the way, if you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe, go ahead. Call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, as always, and I'm saying peace.